Certain situations on the field should alert you for the unusual. You'll see the following play when you have runners at first and third or the bases loaded with a full count. What happened? Let's go back and take a look. The pitcher legally steps toward third. He fakes a throw, breaks contact with the rubber, then throws to first. This is a legal move. The key here is that he broke contact with the rubber before he turned and threw to first. If he does not break contact with that pivot foot when feinting to third, he has balked, whether he actually throws to first or not. Another look to this tricky little move is this. He legally steps toward third, breaks contact, but this time there's no arm motion to third before throwing to first. This is also a legal move. No arm motion is required. And here you can see that he does not break contact with the rubber on his feint to third before throwing to first. That's a balk. Now here's an important point of emphasis. The pitcher must break contact with the rubber on his feint to third, or any throw or feint to first would be illegal. Also, as mentioned earlier, if the pitcher breaks the rear plane of the rubber with his free foot before stepping toward third, he has balked. The pitcher is in the wind-up stance. He brings his hands together in front of his body. Distracted by the runner on third, he separates his hands. Since he did not disengage before the separation, this is a balk. Let's take a look at another balk. Later in the tape, I'll explain when we allow the pitcher to remove his hand from the ball without penalty. Here, the pitcher has legally disengaged before he separates his hands. And in this example, he is balked because he started his motion to the batter with his free foot before disengaging and separating his hands. Here, the pitcher has come to his complete stop and then separates his hands. This would be a balk from the set position. In this case, he separates his hands prior to stepping off the rubber. That's a balk. As the base umpire, it's important for you to know the status of the baseball at all times. If the batter's action causes the pitcher to balk, then the plate umpire shall call time and everybody starts over from scratch.
As the umpire, you're not going to allow the pitcher to deke or fake out the runners by assuming a position back here as if he were on the rubber properly engaged. If he makes any motion normally associated with his delivery, for example, he does this and he's not on the rubber, or he is set and he's not on the rubber, then he has committed a balk.
In making this call, you should be convinced that the pitcher's actions are to deliberately deceive the base runner.
In professional baseball, we do allow the hidden ball trick, but there are certain guidelines that we use to enforce it. Number one, the pitcher cannot be on or astride the rubber without the ball in his possession. He can be on the dirt part of the mound, but he cannot be on or astride the rubber without the ball in his possession. For example, I have the ball in my possession. I'm not in a legal pitching position, either the windup or the set. Now I'm properly going into my set position, or I'm going into my windup position. If I'm off the rubber and I do not have the ball in my hand, I've committed no balk up to this point. But once I put my foot on that rubber without the ball, I have balked with a runner on base. Or if I stand astride that rubber, I've just committed a balk. And players will use this trying to deke out the runners for the purpose of the hidden ball trick. Many times the shortstop will still have the ball and the pitcher will go up and they're hoping that the runner will jump off the base and the shortstop will tag him. Well, the rule here to watch for is that position of the pitcher's feet and whether or not he has the ball in his possession.
If the pitcher drops the ball while in contact with the rubber, it's a balk. Regardless of whether he assumed a legal pitching position or not, a balk should be called when the ball is dropped while a foot is on the rubber. You must know the position of the pitcher's feet at all times. In this case, the ball was dropped before the pitcher engaged the rubber. The ball is alive and in play, no penalty. And in this case, the pitcher has properly disengaged before he drops the ball, no penalty. Here, he's definitely still on the rubber when he drops the ball. This is a balk. And here, he has dropped the ball while on the rubber, but he quickly steps off, trying to deke the umpire. When the ball slips out of the pitcher's hand during his delivery, a balk shall be called with a runner on base. If the ball slips out of the pitcher's hand during delivery with no runner on base, the umpire shall call no pitch unless the ball crosses the foul line. If it crosses the foul line, a ball, B-A-L-L, shall be called.
As the umpire, you are not going to allow the pitcher to take his hand off the ball once he's assumed one of the two legal pitching positions. If he's in the legal wind-up position, removes his hand from the ball, even momentarily, and goes back to the ball, he has just committed a balk. If he is in the legal set position, takes his hand off the ball, even momentarily, he has just committed a balk. Now, the rule specifies that we're not going to allow the pitcher to take his hand off the ball. In professional baseball, we allow the pitcher to take his hand off momentarily to adjust the position of the ball in his glove. Let me give you an example. I'll turn this way. He brings his hand up like this and then adjusts the ball in his glove in a momentary nature, takes it off, then goes down, gets his sign, then goes to the ball, comes set. That's not a violation. That is not considered taking his hand off the ball to be penalized as a balk. I'll give you an example. That's not a balk in professional baseball.
Here, the pitcher is in his wind-up stance. He brings his hands together and momentarily adjusts the ball in his glove. He then brings his hand back to his side. This adjustment is allowed in pro ball. At this time, the pitcher held his hands together too long before he separated. That's a balk.